The story of Jim Averill. He was born into the world of the rich and powerful, but his heart and dreams were with the people. Heaven's Gate.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And this is Movie Matters. Continuing December with bad 80s movies, in quotes, of course. We are doing Heaven's Gate from 1980, a very controversial film. Jake, I know it took you a while to watch this movie. What did you think?
Yeah, normally I hate having to split a movie into multiple viewings. I had to split in two. But I think it actually kind of helped me reset a little bit. This movie's fine, on the borderline of being good, if that makes sense. It's not. We'll talk about the negatives about it, but there are a decent number of positives, in this movie. So I don't think it deserves, the kind of hate that it gets. Especially being categorized as one of the worst movies ever made, by far and away is not true. But I think this was another massive financial flop, which I'm sure you're going to talk about in a minute. Mm-hmm. And another major reason behind massive Hollywood change. So
huge Hollywood change on this movie, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah. So again, I think this movie is a little misunderstood and undeserving of some of the critiques that it gets.
Yeah. I would agree to an extent. So I didn't love the movie at all.
I didn't either, to be clear.
And this is one of the first movies that I barely took any notes on because I was just I don't even know what to fucking write down for this movie. So I collected my thoughts after, and I wrote down what I didn't like, what I liked. I did a lot of different kind of notation with this movie compared to all the other movies that we watch on this podcast. But very interesting because we normally don't love a long movie. We're notorious for not loving long movies on this podcast. Yeah. But, this was streaming on Amazon Prime, and I get to it, and it says 3 hours and 39 minutes. I'm no, I was very close to being like, Jake, we're canceling. We're not doing this. We're doing a different movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let me just start it and see how it is. And, I'm thinking one of the reasons why this movie is notoriously bad is because it's long as shit. Which in general, it honestly is. But, 3 hours and 39 minutes is long. It's longer than the new Avatar movie, and Avatar is long. But it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, roughly, when I hit play on it. And then the movie is just black. And did you have that same issue?
Yeah. Well, there was music playing.
Yes.
But it's black. And then the credits roll. So,
yes.
One of the things that I looked up after the fact was,
why?
What's the deal? And, so the version of the movie that we watched was, obviously recut. And I think there were some residual things in there for the theater experience. Because there's even supposed to be an intermission in this version that I think was actually cut out. So I think that was a residual of the movie theater experience when I think this was re-released in the 90s or the early 2000s or something like that. In this version.
Okay. So I put it on and I'm just okay, my Prime is fucked up. I reset my Apple TV 3 times, and because I thought it was just not playing the video and it was only playing the audio. So I'm being in the audio video industry that I'm in, I'm like, something's not right. Then I'm like, fuck it, let me just fast forward and see if it's the whole movie like this. So I fast forward and then credits come in. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I'm fast forwarding. The movie doesn't start until 7 minutes and 25 seconds in.
Yeah.
Let's just say I did not sit through that.
Yeah.
Did you sit through that?
No.
Okay.
I fast forwarded.
Because I texted you, I was like, yo, the movie's fucked up. Like, I'm thinking I have to go out and buy this movie. I'm like thinking I have to go like get a different copy or something. Then I'm going to have to watch the 3 hour and 39-minute cut. I'm like, this is already off to a very poor start. And so, I text you. I'm like, okay, I got you. Like 7 minutes, 25 seconds in, that's where you need to start the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is off to a great start already. Like, and you even said, you're like, the editing is probably going to be atrocious, which I think the editing is not good in this movie.
It's not great, but it's not like extremely noticeably bad.
Yeah.
Like,
To me, it's like, when I say editing, I don't mean like, oh, a quick cut here, a quick cut there, or like sound is not matching up. What I mean is like the pacing in terms of editing. That's what I'm specifically mentioning. And
the technical part of it is fine.
Yeah, definitely. Like the scenes just go on way too long. And that's a product of Michael Cimino, him being a perfectionist and locking out the studio from the editing room. Like he literally had armed guards outside the editing booth so the studio would not interfere with him. And he got final cut on this movie, so he's like, this is my movie and no one gets to fuck with it. And he's been notorious for being such a like critical perfectionist, and there's a handful of stories, and I'll tell a few of them. But I want to start off with what I did not like about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The editing is the top one that I did not like. It's just the movie has insanely drawn out scenes. It's just like I wrote, just cut, my God. Like the beginning where they're dancing around the tree for fucking 3 minutes. The choreography is amazing with that scene, but it's just like, okay, like
Yeah.
this movie's long already, and I can only imagine what the 3 hour and 39-minute director's cut is like with scenes like this. I don't care about any of the characters at all. I had zero care about the characters. They just weren't established well, in my opinion. It's not a very concise or well thought out story. The story's all over the place.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just and that's what made me not like any of the I don't give a shit for any of the characters. You meet
I will say the one character in the movie that is developed fairly well is Christopher Walken's character Nate.
Yeah.
And when I say developed well, I mean in comparison to everyone else in the movie. But like we actually do understand like a decent amount about his like not like the context in which he's like existing in this world, you know? So like that I'll like give it a little bit of a
I get that.
You know, an edge, but yeah, like the main character, we know like nothing about him.
No.
We do like a 20-year time jump between him graduating Harvard and then being a like Marshall, and like we don't learn anything about that time period. Which
so
is
the movie's confusing. It makes no sense in terms of that. And then you get him like trying to get a birthday gift for his like prostitute significant other that's not his significant other.
Yeah.
Which is also confusing. And he gets her a fucking horse. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, the cinematography's fucking beautiful, but why do I give a shit? And then, why is everything so dusty and smoky in this movie? Did you notice that?
So
everything. And I read
was
why,
actually going to say the biggest positive for this movie is actually the costume and set design, in my opinion.
I agree with you 110%. 110%.
And like I think that's like it is like really like realistically like done. So I feel like the smoky and dustiness is just unavoidable.
So there is a fact of why it is smoky and dusty, and it is for a reason, ish. So Michael Cimino and director of photography Vilos Zsigmond used fog machines and 40 million pounds of Fuller's Earth fine dust to give the movie a dusty atmosphere look typical of 19th century photographs. So he wanted the atmosphere to be that kind of old west, Wyoming vibe, which is cool. But it's just like, to me, I was like, why is it like it's not giving that grain. I think it should have been more grain detail, not dust. Like you're inside a fucking house and it's like dusty as shit. I was thinking, how are these actors not coughing or like being like, can we stop this dust, please? Very interesting. So that's what I didn't like. Excuse me. That's what I didn't like. What I did like, and you mentioned it, but the set design and costume design and makeup is fantastic in this movie. The movie was nominated for an Oscar. It's the only Oscar that it was nominated for art direction and set design, which is well deserved because the set design is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like the town in Wyoming's cool. The little buildings, just the atmosphere is cool, minus the dust, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the like detail and everything too is just like pretty wild.
Yes, very well done. The cinematography is beautiful. Like that's a huge highlight. The action and stunts and choreography is excellent. That was the first thing I wrote down. I was like, whoa, okay. So like again, them dancing in the beginning is definitely drawn out, but like the choreography, the big crane shot pulling away, and you see them in this like courtyard of them dancing around this tree, and then this mosh pit, which like makes no like, why are we seeing this? What is this tradition? And it's very interesting. But yeah,
like,
that's
even like the big like gunfight at the end is like really really well choreographed, well shot. The scene where Jim like busts into the house and like blows those like three guys away is also like an awesome like shootout scene and like filmed extremely well.
Agreed.
Very like well and very well cut too, I think.
Yes.
In that particular instance.
Yeah, the violence in this movie is very violent. It's very and it's like very it's got a realistic tone to the violence of like that old west like grittiness, and I liked that a lot. Yeah,
it's very like raw violence. It's not like clean and like, it's not typical like a lot of times it's just like you shoot and like somebody like flops over like this. There's like visible like blood and like people like kind of take a little bit to kind of like slump over and stuff and like it's not as like quick and clean as a lot of this kind of other films in like this type of genre sometimes make it out to be.
Yeah, I mean the violence that you first see in the movie, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is with Nate, Christopher Walken's character, where this immigrant has like stolen his cattle and like skinned it, and you see that cattle, that cow just like skinned alive and like harvested, if you will, which is disgusting. And then Nate just blows the dude away with a shotgun. And like it's very, very violent. He's like a no nonsense guy.
From that either,
Yeah.
Like and the guy's whole like stomach like opens up. Basically.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's very violent. And I would agree with you. I would say Nate is probably the most fleshed out character. He has the biggest character change and arc in this movie. But again, with me not caring for the characters, the stakes aren't there for me. And it's just a movie that's extremely drawn out in these scenes. And it's like, well, the pacing, the stakes, the character dynamics, it's just like, I don't care. I don't know. And that was the biggest downfall for the movie for me.
I totally agree. And like, this is obviously like an epic Western. We talked a lot about epics when we did Once Upon a Time in America.
Yes.
So go check that review out. I think that was last year.
Yeah.
Around this time, maybe even.
I think so.
Because I watched it when I had COVID.
And we
But
did
yeah,
that with our buddy Daniel. Shout out to
yeah,
Daniel.
we did.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
a
like,
fun one.
Yeah, that was a really good episode
Yeah.
and a really great movie.
Yes.
But like in that, in our analysis, like I think we both felt that that movie's like what 3 hours, maybe even a little over 3 hours,
Yeah.
and I don't think either of us would have cut anything from the movie.
No.
We felt that like every single scene was essential in developing the characters or the plot. This movie is not that way. There's a lot of filler in this movie.
Fluff, lot of
And like
fluff.
the only argument for a lot of it is like context, like time period context.
Yeah.
Which
Agreed.
like okay, like but you don't need arguably like an hour and a half of like contextual filler for people to understand that like this is a Western,
Agreed.
Like I feel like this movie would be far more effective if it was an hour and a half and they really focused on the central plot and like the character interactions.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have been a
100%.
much more effective movie.
100% agreed. It's. I would argue I could do like an hour and 45, hour 50-minute movie for this, and if it just cuts a lot.
Yeah. Well, and like
Like we don't need the
again,
Harvard scene. We don't need any of that, in my opinion.
right. I mean, the only thing, that's, I think all in all, that's maybe like 20 minutes
Yeah.
or so of the movie. And like the only thing that gets us is that like Jim is a Harvard educated guy
Yeah.
and kind of throws that life away to become a federal marshal.
Yeah.
But like we could have established that in like 3 minutes, like it's
Yeah,
not
he could have
like,
been in his office, and there's a Harvard, plaque up on the wall, or like his diploma, and they're just
Right.
like, "You went to Harvard? Whoa, what the fuck are you
have
doing in this
one
town?"
one quick exchange about that,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like even like this movie doesn't do the epic Western correctly either. Like I think one of the things that we talked about in epics is like there's always there should be some sort of journey. There should be a lot of like massive like establishing shots, which this movie doesn't really do. There's like maybe 3 shots in this entire movie of like the larger like Wyoming landscape that are beautiful, but like they're wasted because they're in like non-essential like scenes,
Yeah.
But like yeah, I think the journey is missing in this. Like this, it only takes place in one town.
Yeah.
There's no driver like for Jim to like go and like epics are supposed to be about like exploring or like in the case of Once Upon a Time in America, it's like a lifetime. You're tracking the lifetime of an individual, and like you see like the change of like his environment and himself responding to like those changes in the environment. And I think the other big epic that we've watched was Ron, the Japanese movie, which is basically shot like a 60s Western, like just like these like huge establishing shots and these massive fight scenes and battles and stuff like that like this movie just doesn't have the grandiosity that like an epic usually has. And I feel like that's what really like makes you wanna like keep watching, or like that big cinematic element, when you're talking about a 2.5 hour or 3 hour movie.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'd almost argue that it's this unestablished love story that's taking this thruple, if you will,
Yeah.
this three-way love story that's like trying to take precedence over it, and it's like,
But it doesn't even do that particularly well either.
no,
Like,
no, yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, I didn't love the movie. I didn't give
Yeah.
it a good review on Letterboxd.
well,
But
and like the, in that, like what you're talking about, like the love story is kind of pitted against the, like, socio-political plot of these immigrants,
yeah,
struggling to survive, and the cattle ranchers basically determining that they're just gonna like exterminate them so that their like cattle can be, like secure or whatever. But like, even like, I mean, that's so that plot line is pretty complex. Like there's a lot of like things moving in that plot line, and like a lot of like information, and stuff. But like, I feel like the three-way love story is like way more established than this like really
Yes.
hard to understand socio-political plot that's like,
Yeah.
like complicated.
and this is like based on a true event in history,
Yeah.
and it like doesn't. Yeah, like I didn't even. You're basically inferring that it's like, oh, these guys are killing these immigrants or like exterminating these immigrants because their cattle is being threatened. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but and maybe it's just because we watched this specific cut of the movie, but it's just like, okay, like give me more. I need more.
Well, and like, yeah, like I don't know, it's like so impersonal too, that plot line. Like, I mean,
Yeah, like
they're
have the
talking
main
about-
character be an immigrant.
well, like Nate is your like tie there.
Yeah,
but, like I
'cause
wouldn't
he's on
argue
both
that,
sides of the equation. Is that?
but like
like
he's
that was
not
my
even.
inference.
I wouldn't even like he's a side character. Like he's not a
I know
primary
he's not the main
character.
character. Exactly.
And like Jim is in a lot of ways a like John McClane, where he's kind of just like in this situation, and like there's times though in this movie where I'm like, I don't even know if he really cares. Like,
Yeah.
he's spending so much time like chasing this girl around and like
Getting
getting like
hammered.
hammered.
Yeah.
And then like I'm like is he gonna like, and there isn't a moment where he like steps up and he's like gonna be the guy. It's just
Yeah.
like he just like joins the fight and like is just another body in like the chaos, and like
Agreed.
I don't know, it's just not
Yeah.
compelling. Yeah.
You need that hero's journey, that reluctant hero that's pulled back in, Just when I thought I
Right.
was out, they pull me back in. Like, you could, in my opinion, it should have been well more established, more established that it's like, hey, I was this Harvard grad, and now I'm this washed up, drunk marshal in this town that I could give two shits about. But it's like,
Like
you
he
think the
consciously
reason.
chose to reject his like, high society upbringing
Yeah.
in favor of being like a common man, and like I
Either
mean
that
they-
or he was cast out. I don't know. Like you're not
yeah,
really,
like,
you don't
right,
know.
like something,
Or
and, like,
again, maybe they
he-
tell it. I don't know.
I mean, like they don't do it like well. Like I mean,
Yeah.
there's a few times where he has exchanges with like the cattle ranchers, and like his friend, I think it's Billy, who's also like hammered all the time.
Jeff Bridges.
No, the guy that's in like the Cattle Ranchers Association, that's his like Harvard buddy, who's like always drunk. Like he keeps drinking out of the flask like all the time.
Oh,
I think his name is
John
Billy.
Hurt. John Hurt.
Yeah.
Who gets
Yeah.
shot in the eyeball at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Like because he's kind of the one that's like most horrified by
Irvine
the fact that
is
they
his
want to
name.
kill like 125 people. Everybody else is kind of like, yeah, it's not great, but
Yeah.
where he's the one that's like gets up like in the meeting, he's like, you want to kill 125 people, and like makes a big deal about it. Everyone else is just like, yeah, there's a list, and
Yeah.
like there's names on it. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, like, okay, you know, like no one's like that. Like, I mean, that's a shitload of people. Like, that's
Yeah.
probably like half that town.
And I think where it's excuse me, where it's missing the stakes is Ella, the girl, the prostitute girl that's in love with, arguably she's more in love with Nate in the entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back and forth, but
Yeah, it's like in the beginning
Yeah.
she's like in love with the main character Jim, but then she's like, well, Nate's asked me to marry him, and like I'd rather get married than just fuck around with you. And
Yeah.
then I don't know. It just that was a fucking roller coaster of like, okay, you know, whatever. But I think the real stakes needed to change or happen with, like I said, like Jim kind of being that reluctant hero, and then finding out her name is on the list, which he does. But it's never really, she's never really threatened in the movie. There's never the stakes except for
Yeah.
when those guys are going there to like rape and kill all the like prostitutes, which is a really brutal scene.
Yeah.
And it's well done. And like you said, the action and the violence is really well done and cut. But like that the still even there, the stakes, I don't care as much. I mean, granted, it's a horrible thing to happen, and I care that like that obviously doesn't happen to the character in general. But
Yeah.
it's like I'm not invested emotionally enough because of that, and I needed that. Like I didn't think there needed, like there shouldn't have been the throuple. Like that should have not existed. It should have just been about Jim and Ella, and that's it. And Nate was like the best friend that helps them out, and like at the end sacrifices himself, is what should have happened, in my opinion.
yeah. Yeah.
I think that would have been way more interesting of a movie. And what's funny is
Right.
this movie has like a really high. It has a high rating on Letterboxd. I think it's almost, it's like a 3.6, 3.7 or something like that. It's pretty high. I'm going to take a look, but it also has a 6.7, and I'm not going to fucking do the Gen A or whatever the hell 6.7 bullshit that people are doing. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Horrible. I don't even know what it means.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what it has. Heaven's Gate on Letterboxd. I'm just curious. I forget exactly what it was. Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, while you're looking for that,
3.8. That's high.
That's pretty high. Yeah.
That's really high for Letterboxd. Like, and we just watched movies that have low 4 ratings, like
Yeah.
4.8, 4.7 with Ishtar, and like
on IMDb.
on IMDb. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. And those movies are, in my opinion, not technically or like shot better, but I think they're a better overall movie.
Yeah, I'd agree.
That's a hot take for sure. It's a way like better arc and way better crafted story, and that's what movies are for me. It's just a story. Like it's storytelling 101, and
Right.
this movie does not do it well.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like your points about the romance, I think, are pretty critical in understanding the like shortcomings of this movie from like a plot and storytelling standpoint. Like I would totally agree that removing Nate from that plot line and having him be almost like a Darth Vader antagonist where, he like comes around at the end, and helps out and like,
Yeah.
type of thing. Like, I think would have benefited the movie a lot more. But like, we also just, there's like, so that the scene with the men that come and try and, kill the prostitutes and Ella, and Jim saves her. I think what you're missing from that is a follow-up or follow-through where that's the moment where he's like, all right, I'm gonna do something, or like, like he becomes
Yes.
a hero. Then that would have the impact, or whatever, but like you don't get that. And it's just kind of like lingers there, and you're like, okay, like,
You nailed it on the
So,
head. You nailed it
yeah.
on the head there. That would be, yeah, like he doesn't he doesn't care, and like, yeah, the woman's on there, and like then the stakes really happen where it's like that thrusts him into this situation of like, okay, I got to do my fucking job, and I got to
Right.
protect this person along with everyone else. I like
Yeah.
that. I think that could be the change that this movie needed.
Yeah.
And I don't think, they're definitely, Michael Cimino is definitely not doing that in the director's cut. That's 3 hours and 39 minutes. That's not.
No, like,
there's
yeah,
no,
I don't think
there's
it's
no
there.
changing that. But yeah. So I want to get into the box office of this.
Yeah.
We've been shitting on this movie enough. Let's talk about some other kind of facts and interesting things. I've got actually quite a bit of fun trivia, but so this is considered one of the most notorious on-screen disasters or movies in the history of film, which is crazy. After struggling with personal movies that went nowhere, Michael Cimino finally got to make The Deer Hunter. Have you ever seen The Deer Hunter?
No, but I know it's like supposed to be like one of the best movies ever.
I've seen
Or,
parts
like,
of it. It's a very good movie. I've not
Yeah.
seen the whole thing, and I hate to say that because it's supposed to be amazing. It is also another very, very long 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
I forget exactly how long it is, but let's see. Yeah, it's 3 hours and 3 minutes. I just looked on IMDb. But
I mean, it's one of those like quintessential like post-Vietnam kind of like
it's
epics.
Vietnam
that, like,
and post-Vietnam, I believe.
yeah,
Because there's
like-
that. Have you seen that? There's the famous scene with the Russian roulette gun scene.
yeah.
That's yeah. But that movie brought him critical and commercial success, and it earned 5 Academy Awards. So United Artists afterward was willing to allow him to let him do anything he wanted. They're like, here's the keys to the kingdom. Go paint. And according to Stephen Bach, Bach's final cut, Cimino got 11.6 million to make. So Final Cut, I believe, is it's like a book that Stephen Bach wrote, and one of the Hollywood guys. Cimino got 11.6 million to make this project. Have you done any research? Did you do any research of how much
it
the
was
budget
like a
was?
$40 million budget or 44 million or something like that.
Yeah. It's around there. Yeah. So a movie, he wanted to make a movie about a western about a land war in Johnson County, Wyoming, featuring a first-rate cast. It went over budget almost immediately, mostly due to Cimino's insistence on absolute perfectionism. Excuse me. Stories abounded that he was tearing down sets for no reason and hiring and firing crew members almost weekly. Many of the stories were exaggerated, but the cost ballooned to a then astronomical $40 million. In 2020, that's $125 million.
Yeah,
So that's insane. When Cimino,
huge budget.
huge number. When Cimino presented the movie to United Artists, it ran well over 5 hours. Crazy. After some squabbling, he agreed to trim it down to less than 3 hours. The movie was a commercial and critical disaster that destroyed Cimino's career. It nearly bankrupted United Artists, which merged with MGM. That year, MGM had a hit, For Your Eyes Only, the Bond movie, in '81. Cimino didn't work for another 5 years, and his career never recovered. So we talk a lot about movie jail. All these movies have basically created some form of movie jail for someone. And this movie also created movie jail for Chris Christopherson. It ruined his entire career. Like, he was not a leading man at all after this. What do you think of his acting? Did you like his acting?
So I actually thought everybody acts pretty well in this movie.
I agree.
Like, given what they're given, I think everybody is like really good. Even like some of the like quote unquote like extras, like in the in like the town meeting and stuff, like a lot of like everybody's like pretty good in it. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Brad
I mean, like,
Dourif, he's great.
it's funny, like Chris Christopherson is, for anyone that doesn't know, was like a 70s like country star.
Yeah.
It was like buddies with like Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, like those guys. So like it is kind of funny seeing him in a movie, but yeah, like I think this is maybe his only movie.
He's been
Maybe
in other
he
movies.
was
He's been
in
in other
something
movies.
else.
He was
Yeah.
in Blade Trinity.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's like yeah. I don't think he's a bad actor.
No,
but he
definitely not known as an
He didn't-
actor over his country
yeah.
career.
he did not receive another serious offer for 4 years after this movie. So like he was in movie jail too, which is pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, so the reason the budget ballooned so much is, like I said, like Cimino was such a perfectionist. It's so much so that production was 4 days behind schedule by the 5th day into filming. Like, how does that even fucking work? At one point during filming, Michael Cimino decided that the spacing of the buildings on one set did not look right, even though it had been built to his exact specifications. He ordered both sides of the street to be raised and rebuilt at a cost of $1.2 million. Over the objections of his crew, who reasoned that it would be easier and cheaper to knock down one side of the street and rebuild it twice as far away, so it would be to scale. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
He also, like, the studio was wondering why the budgets were so much and why they were paying rent to the land so much. Michael Cimino owned the land. So he was basically getting, like, he was making money, like a ton of
Yeah.
money by renting out this. Like, what a fucking, like, douche.
Yeah, that's what we call corruption today.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. So this movie impacted Hollywood by symbolizing the downfall of directed-driven the new Hollywood. So that and ushering in the era of studio control and blockbuster-focused filmmaking. This changed movies for, I'd argue, the worst. Like,
Yeah.
this changed it so much. But you know, that's what's going to happen. So New Hollywood was an awesome era in cinema history. I don't know if you've done any research on it, but I took a class in college called Hollywood Rebels. From shout out to my teacher Joe Fortunato, my professor. He was awesome. One of my favorite professors in college. I took almost every one of his classes. Like, there was one that was a Spielberg George Lucas class that was fucking sick. He did a screenwriting class. He was awesome. Loved him. And so I had known about this movie prior to this podcast. I'd known it since college that this movie had destroyed this era of quoted new or titled New Hollywood era.
Yeah, like these are like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, like Coppola, and like those guys who are kind of making these like really like groundbreaking movies and like pushing the envelope of filmmaking in a lot of ways in like the mid to late 70s.
Yeah, I mean, even it started in the 60s. The first movie to kind of usher in this New Hollywood era was Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so all these this is Hollywood just being like, hey, we're gonna give money to pretty much anyone who wants to make a cool movie. Like, that's why you have such cool, awesome 60s and 70s movies. Like, that's why you have The Godfather. That's why you have The Graduate. The Graduate was groundbreaking.
Jaws.
You have Easy Rider was huge and super influential. And this, I personally think Hollywood needs to go back to this auteur-driven, hey, let's give a director final cut and money to go and make what he wants. And I think that's such a huge problem in Hollywood is they're doing what made this what happened post this movie of, hey, we're just going to be focused on box office numbers and making money and studio control. And in my opinion, you have these people that aren't movie fans making movies. And that's where and like you get these accountants making movies and them determining what needs to be made in Hollywood. And I mean, that talk about greed and just the system is flawed. And I get it. It's America. It's capitalism 101. You know, you're a business, you got to make money. I get that. But movies aren't about that, in my opinion. It's not about making money.
Yeah.
And that's they've Hollywood has changed the perception of what a movie is now. And I think that's what's ultimately hurting the box office currently in our current state. Like the box office draw of these movies is not good. Like all these little kind of independent movies are not making money when they should be. Like I just watched the movie Roof Man with Channing Tatum, and it was a great movie, really good movie. And I should have seen it in theaters, but I didn't. And the movie didn't make a ton of money, but it was great. And it's like you've got all these sequels coming out, like the new Avatar. You've got all these big budget, huge movies that have to make $1 billion in order to make money because their budgets are so huge. And it's like,
which
that's
in the case of Avatar. I mean, you and I have kind of been like texting back and forth about how dumb we think Avatar is. More so me, but like,
yeah.
I don't understand how that movie can cost like $200 million when it's just dudes wrestling in a warehouse, you know, wearing like 3D, you know, like the 3D tracking suits. Like, it's mind blowing to me that like
probably post-production is what costs a shit ton is to
yeah,
do all those
but I mean,
visuals.
it's just like, I don't know, it's so stupid.
I
But,
know.
Yeah, like no, I totally agree with everything you said, and like, I think one of the big things about like that area or that era of filmmaking was that like those movies were done like super cheap too, and made like massive money, and like that's where I think like we're missing things now. Like
Yeah.
like you know, part of the reason why like Jaws and Alien and like, you know, some of those movies that like revolutionize practical effects are like so fun to watch is because they had to like invent new ways of like doing things on screen, because they're like, you know, like we have to spend like $500 on this alien costume, so like we're just gonna like whip it together in like this really crazy way, and like, whoa, it looks awesome, you know. And like we just don't get that anymore.
You don't. It's like, oh, we'll just fix it in post. That's like, that's the mentality. It's like, oh, we'll just fix it in post. And I hate that. And again, I think Hollywood needs to go back to this, in order to save Hollywood. And I think it needs saving drastically. And we've talked about this, and I've been a very big advocate of this because I just think movies suck so bad lately. I think they're so horrible. Like, this is a perfect movie to talk about this week, especially because of the Netflix Warner Brothers merger that's on the precipice. Like, that could be the death of movies. That could be the death of the theatrical experience. And people are afraid by that. And that's why Hollywood is calling these meetings, is they're afraid of that. And they're afraid of making money and putting theaters out of business. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love watching a movie from home. But I also love going to the theater. Like, going to IMAX and seeing F1. Like, that was an original movie.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved it. And that movie made a ton of money. And because it's that, and that movie is so entertaining. It's got a great main character. Like, that movie has everything a blockbuster movie needs to be. And it's got the right recipe, and it's got all the right ingredients. And like, think about it. Like, I think an auteur-driven new Hollywood era coming up would bring people back to theaters, because think about it. Like, we got The Godfather. When have we had a movie like that? Like, there has never been such an iconic movie like that. We need something like that. Something that's so ingrained in pop culture versus superhero movies that's going to change the landscape of cinema. I think we need that.
Well, it's like the only like cultural event we've had in like, well, I'd say maybe like 2 cultural events. One of them was the end of like the Marvel Infinity Saga with Endgame and Infinity War. But then also, I'd say like The Hangover was also like a cultural event. Like, everybody went and saw that. You could make references to the movie and everyone would get it.
That's
and like,
a great
it was
point.
hilarious, you know, and like, but like, there hasn't been a dramatic movie, like, barring like the superhero stuff. Like, there hasn't been a like cultural moment movie in decades.
Yeah,
Like,
it's very interesting.
yeah.
Like, it's not like pop culture is all about these superhero movies now. And
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you could have a good superhero movie, don't get me wrong, but it's just I don't know, it's going the wrong direction and I fucking hate it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there has to be a shift in mentality, and it needs to be a push toward, yeah, like I mean, we've talked a little bit about what like A24 is doing, and like I think they're probably closest to being on the right track in terms of like finding these like original concept movies, producing them with fairly low budgets,
Yeah.
and making a lot of money. And like not everyone is, you know, a great movie, but like they've put out arguably more great movies than most of the major studios have in like the past, you know, 10 or 15 years.
And original movies. They're not making
And-
sequels.
Yeah, right. And like, I mean, like Robert Eggers, I think, is a good example of maybe like the start of that trend. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
very auteur-driven.
Nosferatu is a remake more or less, but he put a lot of his own.
And I like
Spin
that movie. I
and-
thought that movie was cool.
Yeah,
Like,
but I
it's-
mean, like The Northman was a really cool movie. I still have to watch The Lighthouse, but I've heard it's amazing.
Very bizarre.
And
The-
The Witch is a really good
Witch
movie.
is cool.
Like, I mean, he's like specific to horror kind of, but like,
Yeah.
he's coming out soon with like a werewolf movie.
I'm gonna see
that's
it,
gonna
for
be
sure.
like written in like true to times old English,
Yeah,
and like all this
wild.
like crazy shit. Like, you know, it's like that's I think what we need. Like,
The only thing I'd argue about these A24 movies, and I don't want to lump them all into one category, but to me, they are only good for one or two viewings, and that's about it. That's the only downside. But
yeah.
that's in my opinion the generalization of A24 for me. And
Yeah.
but I agree. I think it's the right track. It's the right trend, and we could eventually get that curve and go in the right direction with these auteur-driven films that can potentially create a pop culture event or such a memorable movie. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I just sent it to you on Instagram. There's this interview from James Gray. He made the movie Ad Astra. He made The Lost City of Z. He's made a couple movies. He made Armageddon Time. He's only made original movies, and he's a good director. I don't think he's the best director out there, but he talks about this Godfather movement of like, when have we had a movie like Godfather? So I want you to watch that clip I
Yeah,
sent
yeah.
you. But it's like that was such bizarre timing with this of like this new Hollywood era of this movie taking that over and canceling that.
Well, and like, yeah, I mean, like this is clearly like the death knell of that
100%.
movement, you know.
100%.
And like, I mean, you know, I mean, we've now watched I think 150 or so 80s
Crazy.
movies, and
Yeah,
like
Jake wants a break from that, by the way.
I'm thinking of branching out, but
we can. I just
but I mean, not that, you know, I mean, we've watched some absolutely fantastic movies.
yeah.
And like, I'd argue that a lot of the movies that have been like truly remarkable that we've watched so far on this podcast have been smaller, like like major studio kind of like small budget kind of movies. And
Give me an
like,
example. Putting you
I'll
on the
give you-
spot.
I'll give you examples next week or in 2 weeks when we do our top 5 movies.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I mean, like, yeah, like we talked earlier this year. Spoiler alert! And I said this on the on the episode that it was going to be in my top 5. But like, The Beast, I think, was
I knew that.
one
I
of the
knew that.
best movies we watched this year, and like was a like dirt cheap movie. Like, I don't remember what it was, but it was like $10 million or something. Like,
I can look it up real quick.
It was
while
just
you're
like
talking.
dudes in a tank in the desert, like, you know, like and it was like one of the most compelling movies I think I've ever seen. You know, like it's, yeah, I mean, like we need more story driven and character driven movies. I think I'm stealing someone's idea. I don't know if it's Scorsese or Tarantino or somebody else, but I'm pretty sure one of those guys has said, like, movies today aren't about characters or stories. It's about IP, and the IP is what drives everything. Not the characters, not the story. It's, you go to see Captain America. You don't go to see Chris Evans. Nobody gives a shit about Chris Evans. They care about Captain America. You know, people don't go to see Star Wars because of Daisy Ridley or
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a good point.
They go to see Star Wars. They want Star Wars, you know.
Yeah,
And it's like, I mean, like, you know, you can argue that like that was kind of the case with the original movies too, but like, I mean, Mark Hamill became like a household name as Luke Skywalker
yeah,
because like, he's a super compelling character, you know. And Han Solo is like one of the like biggest badasses, you know, ever in movies. So like,
yeah.
there's a lot that's like just missing from movies nowadays. I feel like, and like, I think the worst part is that I don't think it's even like laziness. I think it's just like they're just missing the target, you know, completely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's storytelling 101, like I said earlier. It's like they're missing the fundamentals of what makes a movie. And that's
Yeah.
storytelling. Like literally just tell a good story and have
Yeah.
compelling characters that drive that story forward. That's it.
Yep.
It's literally, and like, there's no need to, it's like, there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
The wheel already does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So you just got to
Pick it,
find
like-
innovative ways to make that story compelling and interesting and original and organic. And
Right.
that's the problem right now. That's the fundamental problem. And they, like you said, it might be laziness. But it's also that factory turning out, you know, oh, like we've made this and that makes a ton of money. Let's make that and repackage it and stamp our name on it and say it's the same fucking thing but 2.0. There you go.
Right. Well, and like,
It's like almost a slap in the face to audiences, in my opinion.
yeah,
Because it's
Well,
like, let's just
and
repackage
also-
this same thing and call it new and charge
Well,
you
and that-
all this money for it.
Exactly. And like, I think the biggest problem is that they'll take something that was successful, like, you know, like, let's stick with the 80s since that's what we know. Like, you know, you have these Schwarzenegger and Stallone, you know, movies, and then Die Hard comes along and subverts the action genre by making McClane just a normal guy, and he's got to fight his way through this tower to get the bad guys. And like, that was crazy. It was very, very groundbreaking for the
Yeah.
action movie genre. And what does like big corporate Hollywood do? Like, oh, well, we'll just subvert everything. And then it's like they just put out garbage that's like not even doing what it's supposed to be doing, you know? Like, it's like they don't actually understand the concepts, you know, that they're trying to like implement, and they're just like trying to do like a cut and paste of something. It's like no, like it doesn't work unless you like put the effort in
Yeah.
to make it work.
Yep. Agreed. So, I don't know. We've been talking about this a lot lately. All this,
Yeah.
all this Hollywood bullshit. I just don't know when it's going to change. I mean, granted, you can get some good sequels out there that do, like, that are interesting and compelling. Like, I'd argue. I mean, I kind of mentioned this. I've mentioned this before. Like the Mission Impossible movies have all
Yeah.
been really good, really, really good. Especially Fallout. Fallout it's incredible, one of the best action movies of recent times. And then you get the most recent one that came out, like the Final Reckoning. It was horrible. I thought it was horrible. Like there's some good parts in it, but it was like they ran out of fucking steam and ran out of ideas. And like the whole ending of the movie is the same as Fallout. Like the whole last act is Fallout remade. It's like not original, and it pissed me off. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm expecting these movies to be great because they've been so great for so long, and then it's like come out with The Final Reckoning and it's fucking garbage. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That shit pisses me off. But
Well,
again,
it's
sequel, like, what are you
Fast
gonna
and the
get?
Furious is like
Yeah.
kind of the same too, where it's
Yeah.
like, you know, first movie was good, second movie was fun because it was a little bit of a shakeup.
Yeah.
Then Tokyo Drift is like another shakeup, and then they just did like, oh, you know what? We're just gonna remake the first movie, but get like crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier with heists until you get to, you know, whatever they're on now, number 10. Or like, like Ludacris is like flying a car in space. It's like, you know, like what the fuck happened to street racing?
Yeah.
Like it's completely gone. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not even resembling the original franchise. Like
And I
anymore.
think that's
like,
why the most recent or the new, I think it's maybe Fast 11. I don't even fucking know at this point. I think that's why that one's taking forever to make, because they
Yeah.
are trying to go back to what made the first one so great. But it's like, how do you go back? Like, there's a point of no return at this you know juncture. Like, it's so over the
Yeah.
top. Like,
I mean, The Rock like punched a drone and killed it. Like in in one of the movies. Like, how do
Yeah.
you go back to reality and like street racing from that? You know.
exactly.
But yeah,
And maybe that's the analogy of Hollywood right now. How do you go back? They're
Yeah.
too scared to go back and figure out how to fix things because they see this machine that is working. However, it's not working, and I feel like they need
Yeah.
to start figuring out how to fix it.
yeah. It's
And
like
this
it's
is-
a runaway train going towards a cliff.
Yeah,
And they can either put on the brakes and risk, you know, not being able to get to whatever their destination is, you know, money, and, you know,
Yeah.
assuming, or you gun the train, try and go as fast as you can and hope that you can jump the cliff, you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that
That's
seems
also
to be
kind of
what they're trying to do. But
it's also kind of a fitting analogy to this movie.
yeah. Good old Western analogy.
Yeah, and
Also, I
I'm-
think that's the end of Back to the Future 3.
Yes, 100%. And it's the ending to. What's funny is it's the ending to Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's kind of really funny and fitting. But and I'm not saying don't make sequels. I'm not saying that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can make sequels, just make them good. Just don't make them huge budgets. You can always have that tent pole release of this, but have it, you know, for every one of those big tent poles, have 3 auteur-driven, excellent, well-done films.
Right.
I think that's what it should be. It should be the rule of 3s. Like,
Yeah.
you do this, then you get 3 of these. Like, we make one for the studio, for the audience, and then we get to make 3 auteur-driven,
Yeah.
good movies. Again, I think that is a good way to make every party happy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know. There's a handful of other things I wanted to talk about this movie, but I don't care to talk about them anymore. But I'll talk about 2 more things. One, there's a lot of conjecture about this movie and its abuse towards animals.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that, too.
It says it's false. It says it's true. I don't know what to believe. There's one point where they apparently blew up a fucking horse, from what I read, with dynamite. There's a lot of
I thought the biggest thing was the cockfight.
yeah.
And people were really upset that, you know, it looks like they were actually having 2 chickens tear each other apart.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. There's a lot of horses and stuff. Yeah, they said chickens were actually killed during the production, but no one on the staff, including the wrangler, were upset about it. Apparently, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting, I don't know, excerpts about them being hurt or not being hurt. Pretty interesting. There's a whole thing about Willem Dafoe being fired because he was talking during a scene. Cimino basically was like, "Fuck off," and like fired him, and that was pretty funny. I read. Tom Noonan, one of the like rapists in the scene with Ella, he was like, yeah, it was one of the worst experiences of his life. He claimed that Michael Cimino abused actors and the crew, including holding a loaded gun to Noonan's head during a dispute. Like,
Yikes.
that's fucked up. Then I mean, that's basically when I like just more issues of like behind the scenes drama. I want to talk about the ending. The ending is so abrupt and random as fuck too. I think it's just like the epitome of this movie, where you have basically they're like cool, the like cattle people just like are like, all right, we're gonna leave you alone, we're done, like we're taken back. And then Jim and John, who plays Jeff Bridges, and Ella are like leaving their house, and they just get fucking wasted basically and shot up, and just out of nowhere. And then it just cuts to Jim on like a fucking steamboat in the middle of nowhere, and then the movie ends. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it's just a weird ending. It's not explaining things well. It's not developing really, like, you know, I don't know. It's not in like, it should be impactful. It should be like one of the most impactful things in the movie, but like you just don't care because the characters are flat and boring.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
I don't know. Just not a good movie in my opinion at all.
It's also not explained why she gets killed. It's just like dudes pop out of the grass and like shoot her like 1,000 times, and then no explanation. So
yeah, and there's just like Jeff Bridges' character gets fucking waxed, and like you don't even care. Like just like I was like, oh shit, like he's dead, and then I don't know. It didn't have that impact that you wanted to. Like,
yeah.
That you wanted to have. So I don't know. That's
Yeah,
that's the epitome of the movie.
Like, I don't like watching a movie and feeling like a psycho because like people are getting killed and I like don't care. You know, like
yeah,
it's not a good experience for the audience. You know,
no, yeah. I don't know. This movie just it got a lot of things wrong. It got some things right, but mostly it got a lot of things wrong. And I think this movie, compared to our other movies, like I like Howard the Duck way better than this. I'd rather watch Howard the Duck than this, hands down.
I think I agree.
Ishtar, like I'd rather watch Ishtar. Like those movies got most of it right. Most of it. Like this movie didn't. I don't know, just wasn't good. So we'll see if next week, if Mommy Dearest. I have no idea what that movie's about.
Me either. But I've heard
right, hold on.
I've read that it's like really not great. But so
never
far
know.
that trend has gone in our favor at least.
Yeah, so far it's like 50-50. It's like, or it's, you know, the first two movies we watched were not bad. Ishtar I liked.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck was okay. This movie, not great. So it might be, we might have another not great movie. Let me look. I've done this trend on our movies so far. Mommy Dearest, okay. Same rating as Heaven's Gate, 6.7.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully it's a good one. But that's what we're watching next week, and I think it's funny because it's probably going to be the same where it's like all these movies on IMDb that are rated lower, like, oh, all right, that's pretty good, or decent, or meh. And then these movies that are rated higher on IMDb, we're just like, those should be the 4.8. But also, I'd argue that like some people that like these movies are like, oh, it's so artistic, and like, I don't know, that's kind of like,
well, yeah, I mean,
you know,
that's like, I mean, they're like we said, the merit of this movie is its artistic aspects.
I would agree.
But like that can't carry a movie, and it doesn't.
No. So we're gonna leave you on that. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this episode. There was a lot
of ranting.
a lot of ranting, but I liked this episode. And hopefully, we don't talk about shitting on Hollywood too much. But
We'll probably
that's
talk
why,
about it again in our top 5 episode. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why we watch these movies, is because we're hearkening back to this time of the '80s. And I mean, we want that golden age of Hollywood. I mean, '80s movies aren't amazing, but it's like they're fun, and I feel like we don't get that fun natured movie anymore for the most part. Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. We're coming back next week with Mommy Dearest, and hopefully it's a good one, but we'll find out.
yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep. See ya.